what are the skill sets or mindsets you need to have in this new world to succeed as an entrepreneur, but probably in general too?
I'll answer this in a weird way, which is I'll tell you the first question I ask founders whenever they pitch me. I never look at their deck. I already looked at their deck. They sent it to me in advance. Like, I prepared my questions. But the first question is like, tell me how you grew up. I always start with the childhood, because I'm trying to understand, first of all, is this like a mission for them? Like, sometimes you get clues of like, well, I'm creating like this like restaurant payment solution because like when I was working at like the Chinese restaurant with my parents or something as immigrants, like, I saw this problem or whatever. Like that to me like starts to touch a little bit of the missionary aspects of like why they're doing this. But the childhood also, and how they describe it, gives me some clues about whether they're a fixed mindset or growth mindset of person. So I think like you hear it in subtle ways, right? Like, and not to say that you always have to have trauma. Some people have like blessed lives. I had a pretty blessed life too. Like when I was a kid growing up in Detroit, like it was all right. And like my dad's a doctor and all, it was stable. But like when I look back at that childhood, I was just like, my dad worked his ass off. My mom worked her ass off. Like it was like I pulled like so many lessons of just like you can never rest on your laurels of just being smart, right? Like you have to outwork other people. That was like the thing that frankly turned into a liability later in life, because guys like you and me, I think, struggle with over-indexing and work on that side. That's a small tangent. So if you begin with a growth mindset, I tend to believe that just bet on the person and then they can find and weave the path that gets you to where you are. That's part one. Part two, in terms of just like this thesis I'm starting to develop, well, like who should be a founder here? So I still think there's a lot of value being an engineer. Like, those who are engineers that are playing with Claude code are going to do a better job than me, at least in the beginning, right? So you have like it's a higher y-intercept on the slope. Like I'm here, you're here, and then you're going like this, right? So I can't defend it, or I can't like say anything else about that. But in this era where AI is so nascent and still being defined, society is sort of grappling with it, I think we need more humanities and liberal arts people also participating as well. This is a little bit less a comment about companies, but more about like, let me give a small example here. I talked to actually another founder about this morning. It's like Grok got into a lot of problems recently because, you can nudify pictures, undress everyone, right? And it didn't really discern between like children and adults. And also if it did discern between children and adults, and it's still kind of fucked up to take a picture of like my wife and like, put her in a bikini or something like that without her permission, right? Like for me, that was such an obscene violation of the social contract, what technology should do with people. And I am making a lot of assumptions here, but if someone like who took like a philosophy class took a beat and say like, is this something that actually we want to promote in humanity, is the fact that you can nudify and like become like allow predators being more predators and so forth. Maybe a discussion did happen. The answer was yes, and that was their decision. But I feel like we have over-indexed in the last 20 years saying you should study computer science, study engineering, ignore the other stuff, when people probably could have benefited from a little bit more of a liberal arts education or studying history and so forth. And I do think that we need to pull back those kinds of people. Like for me, a good balance of this was actually like a Steve Jobs. I had a lot of problems with him also from a character perspective. He seemed like a dick. But like, did he actually intentionally bring his art experiences, his humanities interest and technology interest, and essentially orchestrate his own little LLM of like this great organization? I think he's maybe the most masterful at the craft. Right, but there are very few leaders that do that. So we're lacking, I think, the balance of those who actually can take, I think, a little bit more of a humanities approach and just vibe code or build companies this way. And I think that actually their outcomes will be really exciting to watch in the next few years too.